What's up? It's Winslow. How you been? How you doing? Hope you're doing great. If you watched the last video, you know I'm feeling a bit of the same. It's new week though. It's all right. But I want to get to something I meant to do a while back. So like around the time of like the release, Sandalwood 9 CP out on Hospital Records. If you haven't heard it yet, go check it out. So they the hospital team put together a video of like playing off of me of like the few things we can learn from Winslow or you've learned from me, which is like, first off, you learned anything from me. That's a miracle, right? In this video,
Winslow's a great lad.
It was something, you know? As in, yeah, I don't know. You don't know the effect you have on people until they straight up tell you. So that was awesome. But in my normal fashion, it's like, what if I just like, not make a response, but just like, for once, just talk about me, directly talk about me, because I don't like doing that. I like sharing my experiences, but not like, here's what I know, and here's, you know, or here's like something you can learn from me. I don't know. Anyway, might as well do it now. So here's a few things you can learn from me.
Winslow's a great lad.
Number one, try again, fail, come up short, reassess, try again, let it go, all those things. I've been harping on these like videos for the last, I don't know, 2 years. It's been going longer than that, but like consistent to where it was like I was kind of on a roll for a little bit. You remember those days, right? The best thing you can do is try whatever you're thinking about doing. You know, that idea that whatever it is, the back of your mind, or maybe it's the front of your mind, you're like, maybe you're like waiting for permission to do it. Like, if someone told me to do this, I'd do this. Or I don't know if people want to, you know, want this kind of thing from me or want this. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Figure it out. Toss yourself into the fire and figure out if you're going to survive. I mean, you'll survive. I don't know where that expression was going. I just butchered it, but the point is, you'll survive. These videos are me trying. They worked out when they worked out. Some of them were terrible. I mean, come on. Just look back through them, then look up to now. A lot of growth. A lot of tunes I've tried, just ideas and tracks. Some fell flat. Some are the ones you know me for. All those were just for trying. And it's not necessarily like, go for the wildest, the leftist, no, just little things here and there. If you are a little, I don't know, anxious in front of a camera talking, or maybe in front of a mic, just try it a few times. It gets easier. Or you just learn to ignore the fact that you might sound a little awkward on a mic and look awkward in front of a camera. And I don't know, if you're like me and you dig into the self-deprecating side of things, it works out. But yeah, number one, just try. I mean, I wish I could be more clear, like, try this, but that will kind of defeat the point. The point is, whatever you're thinking about doing, just try it. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, either figure out why and try again, or just, you know, bin it for later. It's worked out. I mean, look at where I am, you know, in the same spot. Yeah, I gotta play up the ego a little bit. I learned that lately. Duncan, you're in Winslow, you're on Hospital. You're not the little guy anymore. I'm like, shut up. Anyway, number two, I've made a video on this, one video specifically. And like I always say it in other ones, but make friends. And it might sound like, you know, little kid, kindergartner, you want to be my friend, but sometimes it's like that. I mean, we're all in this making music, whether it's drum and bass or whatever else you make something, right? Chances are there's somebody else that does that too, and chances are they feel exactly how you feel at one point or another about whatever it is you both are doing. So it'd be cool if, you know, spark a little friendship there, a little, even if it's not like, you know, your best friends. You just, you know, you have somebody you can talk to about something when something comes around, you know, something they might be able to relate to, or maybe you can help them with. The point is, you're making friends, you're making these connections. Yeah, there's networking if you want to look at it businessy way, but like I've said before, if you haven't watched any of these videos, you should. In this video,
Winslow's a great lad.
All these things are calling back to something I've said. not to get up my own, you know what I mean? Where was I going with that? Just make friends. Look, we're all people at the end of the day. Even if like a certain one of those people might be, let's say, the A&R at big label whatever, and obviously if you're messaging, they're probably already thinking like, yeah, okay, you know I work here, I might be able to get your tracks here. But if you just strike up a conversation, just a genuine, hey, what are you doing, how are you, oh, I noticed you did this, I wonder if I can ask you a few questions, blah blah blah. Things go back and forth, drinks fly, messages flow, and friends. Or sometimes it ends up being nothing, but that's okay. The point is you tried. Back to number one, that callback, you tried. This is all, I'm just doing this off the cuff too. I have a few notes, but this is how my brain works, and I'm not trying to edit a whole bunch today. So, number one, try again. Number two, make some friends. No one's an island. Like, what is it? You can, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with friends or something like that. Yeah. Just take that. Good advice. Number three, and I wrote this down as big up everyone else before yourself. And I probably meant something different when I wrote that, but I know what I meant because I wrote it, obviously. And it might work more into my personality of, I don't really like talking about myself, so I'm going to talk about all my friends. Number two, right? Make friends. And eventually, when you do stuff like that, when you talk up other people, you just support, those around you. They always bring it back. Positive energy begets positive energy most of the time. There's a plus or minus room for error that they might not say anything. That's cool. I always share other people's mixes, other people's tunes, other things they might be doing completely related to music, because again, we usually hit that point after talking for a while where we're more than just like drum and bass friends. Like, we're friends. I had to say it like that because it just feels, I don't know why it should be weird, but it is a little weird sometimes if you think about it too much. Anyway, it takes no effort to just say, hey, good job, or hey, here's this person I know either well or I barely know that's doing something real cool, and I want you all to see it. That's something, I don't know, that's helped me a lot in a sense of making friends and building a bit of community and feeling more a part of the drum and bass community as a whole, because being over here in the US in the middle of more or less nowhere, I just always felt like I'm over here and everybody else is there and having fun. And I witnessed that a few weeks ago at a weekend in the woods. I was like, this is what I've been missing out on. And yeah, can't wait to go back. But the point is that by doing these things and building a sense of community around me, and not necessarily like BSA or anything like that, but just the people I talk to, like social media, see every day, might just scroll, hit a like, be like, hey, I noticed you did something cool. Awesome. And then maybe quick share. It takes no effort to repost something. And even a low effort, like repost, hey, why don't you repost my tune? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But the point is, it usually builds towards something else. Like, how many times have you maybe just offhanded say, hey, that's a really cool track or something, like on a comment or something, or maybe reposted something. And then weeks, days, weeks later, months maybe, that person hits you back and is just like, hey, can you check this out, or for some feedback or something? Or maybe went a bit further and a collab came out of it, or a release, say if they had ties with a label or something. Like, all of that has happened to me. I've seen it happen to other people as well. It just happens, but it won't happen if you don't, reach out and be that person. I don't know, to take the first step. It's not like, I'm not saying just like go be nice or be don't just be nice because you think something's gonna happen back to you. Just genuinely be like, I like this thing, quick share, don't think about it. That small amount of effort can have a big gain later on, or so I've learned, or so I've told. I don't know. That makes sense. Number 4, always be willing to learn and ask questions about everything. There's no wrong questions, there's no bad question. There's sometimes an ill-timed question. Like maybe if you waited a bit longer, you might have got the answer. I say that as somebody who deals with kids every day, and they always ask questions basically before I'm about to tell them the answer to that question. So I'm just like, hey, chill. I imagine I know these things. I'm gonna let you know exactly what you're about to ask me. And, oh, Mr. Winslow, how'd you know what I was gonna say? Because I've been you before, and I've thought this through an annoying amount, neurotic amount, an anxiety heightening amount. So I'm ready. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to learn things that are directly related to, I don't know, writing drum and bass or writing whatever music you're doing. Or if you're just like photographer, read books, look at photo books. If you're a designer, look at design books, photo books, still things like that. Ask questions. If, let's say you're about to have a release and you don't know how a certain label works out releases, promos, things like that, ask questions. Even if you feel like you're the small guy and you're just, I'm grateful to get whatever I get. Yeah, be grateful, but also be aware that this is your tune and you made it and you have control. So you should be able to ask questions about whatever you want to know. And if, said label or entity is just like, why are you asking so many questions? Maybe you should move another direction. I've had that conversation and steered some people away from, once all the hype dies down about, yeah, it's my first release, it's like, oh, I'm signing away or I'm doing this. And I know you're like, oh, signing away, Winslow, didn't you just, with hospitals, like, you have a point. But I also thought about it because I was asking questions. And through, number 2, making friends, I asked people in the same position. And number 1, try again. You see how this all ties together? Like a circle. It's just like and this is why I can't sleep at night. But I know these things. Anyway, always be willing to learn. Always be willing to ask questions. Trust me, it will help you in the long run and in the short run. You might seem like the annoying kid in the first half, but in the second half, you're gonna be that annoying kid that knows a little something else than that person who's a little bit scared to ask something. And again, when we're talking about try again, just if you're afraid to ask, try a little ask, then a bigger ask, then the gargantuan ask. Andy C, will you take me to Wembley so we can go back to back? If you don't ask, you don't get. So I'm waiting. Anyway, number 5, and this ties into everything I'm just saying and everything I've done and learned to do up at this point, is be authentically you. And I caveat that by saying, learn who you are first. Take the time to figure out who you are. Everyone always says, oh yeah, just be yourself and you'll be okay. But so many people don't take the time to figure out who they are. I have. Oh man, dark days, I don't know. That goes in like, not too personal thing, but just like, you have to be honest with yourself about like what you're doing, who you are, who you're trying to be, or who you want to be, what you want to do in the future, how things have gone in the past, trauma, things like that. And yeah, not going all day about that. But the point is, I'm aware of all those things to a point to where nothing else really bothers me, and I can sit in front of this camera on the mic and just speak whatever I'm thinking in a way that I hope somebody on the other end understands, and maybe it helps them feel a little bit better about themselves, or it teaches them a little bit of something they didn't know at first, or whatever. Or when I'm writing a tune, I write it because it's something I want to hear, or I write the music that I want to hear, that kind of thing. Be the change you want to see in the world, that kind of Willy Wonka, whatever. What did it come from? What movie did it come from? And then it was like in something else, and now it's on like the Live, Laugh, Love signs. You get like Bed Bath & Beyond. You know what I mean. The point is, figure out who you are. Be yourself. If you're a grumpy old fart, be a grumpy old fart with a sense of humor, because it'll come across real nice. If you're just like kind of scatterbrained, you get around and you find your point, but you take a while to get there. Just do that. But people will pick up on authenticity really fast. and you'll also pick up when you're being inauthentic. It's another one of those things like I got from the video hospital put together, where like a few people were like, oh, he's just been doing this and he helped me out when he didn't need to, and then we actually met and talked and he was a lovely guy. I'm like, you know, I am sometimes. On my good days, I can be. And I hope people think that sometimes. But it's like, it's a little bit validating to hear that someone else gets that comes across. Like another thing I picked up from like week or two ago, just roaming around hospitality weekend in the woods. If you were there, you saw me just walking around like an idiot for 2 days and then managing to pull off a set for an hour, which was, that was nuts. But yeah, just like people like, oh, I'm a fan of your videos, fan of your music. And just like hanging out and chatting. And like, you're just exactly as I thought. You're like, yeah, the guy on the camera is the guy in front of you. It took me a while to get here so I can just be like this, but I am. So do you take the time to figure out who you are? Figure out what you're good at, what you can work on. Because it might not be necessarily that you're bad at something, but maybe you haven't given it the amount of effort you need to. That's another video. Anyway, wrapping it up. Number 1, try again. Number 2, make friends. It's the best thing you can do. Make friends. I don't know where I was going with that. I had a grander idea in my head. 3, just take the time, lift somebody else up. Whether they even say anything back to you, that's a plus, icing on the cake. But put that positive energy out, it'll come back to you. Number 4, always be willing to learn and ask questions. Nothing is safe from questions. Whether you're trying to get your first release out and label is just like, you should be grateful we're releasing your tunes. You should be grateful I'm sending you tunes. Or if you're like, not to bring it up, but like on hospital and you feel like you can't ask things. And I felt like that at first until, I got more comfortable talking with everyone and realized just how nice everyone, because they're people, right? They're people. Just like, hey, can I do this? Cool. Hey, what do you think about this? I don't know, maybe not right now. Cool. The point is, I wouldn't know if I didn't ask. Gotta take that chance. 5, just be yourself. But take the time to figure out who yourself is in this grammatically not necessarily correct sentence. In this video,
Winslow's a great lad.
Be you, but figure out who that is and then flourish. I don't know. I'm no social butterfly. I'm a hermit. Gonna work on the rest of these tunes in a little bit. I go to school and teach, and then I come here and sit in front of this computer. I forget what outside feels like sometimes unless I'm driving to and from. Anyway, different thing. Hope you got something from this. And if you didn't, oh well. It might not be useful to you now, but maybe when you're older, you'll really understand. Like Back to the Future. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I've been Winslow. Later.